Last Movie Run podcast. I'm your host, Josh Gilliam. I'm joined this week by Alex Cantor.
Hey, guys.
This week we'll be talking about Venom, The Last Dance, as well as Agatha All Along, but not before we talk about the news of the week. We have a bunch of Marvel news, as well as some Christopher Nolan updates. And it's a big week for trailers with the Marvel Look Ahead trailer, Star Wars Skeleton Crew, and much more. And with that, let's get started. All right, Alex, thanks for coming on the podcast today. It's great to have you here. We've been friends for a long time. You're actually calling in from England today, the whole episode. That's why you're going to sound terrible throughout this whole thing.
Yes, I am. You have fans all over the world.
That can't possibly be true. The
Someday,
three people I'm
world.
reaching with this are not international. All right, let's get into some news, Alex.
All right.
Blade's been delayed again.
Oh, man.
It got delayed once before, and it's supposed to come out next year, but being as they haven't even locked the script down, it's been delayed. They've not released any dates, so it's just kind of an indefinite hold at this point. I don't think this movie's ever coming out.
No. I mean, I remember when it, they first had the teaser at the end of Eternals. People, even then, were like, it would be so awesome if this happened, but weren't sure if it would.
Yeah, it would be awesome if it happened. I don't think it's going to. Yeah, I don't think Blade's coming out. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think this is going to get shifted into some like Midnight Suns movie, and they'll probably fold Ghost Rider into it and just not worry about any of it. But this is a massive Marvel news week, and this is just a big Marvel week. Spider-Man 4 got a release date.
Oh, did it really?
Yep. July 24th, 2026.
Okay. That's not too bad. Did they release what the second half of the name is, or just the fact that it's coming out?
There were speculations about that. People are saying it's going to be called Brand New Day.
Okay.
Which sounds a lot like the comic One More Day, which I actually wanted to talk about a little later when we talked about Agatha All Along. But in One More Day, Spider-Man essentially, like, Aunt May's dead. And he's like,
wow,
here's what I'm going to do. It took me 20 years to marry MJ. But he just makes a deal with the devil. He's like, Mephisto, because that's just Satan in the MCU. You bring my aunt back, I won't be married anymore. And fans hated it. So hopefully they don't do that.
Were the other ones based off of comic book names?
No, I don't think so. Homecoming was just like a big screw you to Sony.
Yeah.
And then they just
ran with the home name. Yeah.
Do you think they'll do the same thing if it's One More Day? They'll be like one more fight.
Yeah, something with their
one more swing.
We're at home with it.
One more trip to Taco Bell. So yeah, that's going to come out July 24th, 2026, which we're going to talk about something else in one more second. But first, according to Forbes, there will be a Kanye West documentary coming out in 2025.
Really?
Yes.
Well, he's like approved it, or they're just like, yeah, let's just make a documentary about this guy. Or he's like,
it's an approved. Kanye West is getting a film.
It's an approved. He'll be starring in it. Is it like a biopic, or is it a documentary on his life?
I don't think we know yet, but
okay.
Will you see?
That's some good movie news. Absolutely. Actually, I mean, day one and 5 hours ahead for me, but you can see it 5 hours after either.
Okay. Do you think they're gonna like heavily look into that one part where he really hated Jewish people?
I don't know. If it's a biopic, how do they do that? They just cut off at his peak, and then there's like end credits roll, and there's a black screen that's like, we're sorry, and then credits roll.
We're sorry.
I know. You can have his signature up there on the screen as well, or something.
It's
like he signed off
signature underneath, and it's just my bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know.
but that'll be out in 2025.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like him. He's trying to get his image up. He's funding it.
Do you think it's going to be like that Pharrell Williams movie that just came out? He does it with Legos.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but
I bet it'll do something weird. I don't remember who the musician is, but they're doing another biopic, but the dude's like, it's how he sees himself. So the whole movie, everyone's normal, but he's a monkey.
Okay.
And that movie looks terrible. The monkey doesn't look right. Here's what kind of links in with the Spider-Man 4 release date. Christopher Nolan has announced his next movie, not what it's called, not what it's about, although we do know what it's about. He announced that it will have Tom Holland, and that will come out July 17th, 2026. Now, I know you're not paying attention.
How do they know? Is it being leaked? How do they know?
He came out and said it.
Called? Oh, no, I just mean then you were like, oh, you know what it's about. But he didn't say what it was about.
So, first of all, comes out July 17th. Spider-Man 4 comes out July 24th, which is a week later.
I see.
So it's just going to be a busy filming time for Tom Holland. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we kind of know what this is about because Christopher Nolan went and like studied people working, and basically it's going to be a movie about helicopters.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be Top Gun, but helicopters with Tom Holland.
Huh. That sounds interesting.
No, it doesn't.
I will suspend my disbelief because Christopher Nolan.
He did Oppenheimer.
Great at what he does. He is amazing at what he does, so I'll suspend my disbelief. I mean, the fact that he can announce that we're making a movie coming out 2 years from now, and I'm not going to say what it is, and whatever, people look into it and figure out it's helicopters, but he can just say that, and people are still excited about it. People are talking about it.
Yeah.
So,
people are saying this might be Tom Holland's first movie that doesn't suck, that's not part of the MCU. Because he's been on a wild tear of movies that are just terrible if he's not playing Spider-Man. Because he did that one where he's just a sad guy and he keeps getting assaulted. I don't remember what it's called.
He was in another one about, it's like some dystopic future where their thoughts are played aloud around them or something like that.
Ray,
I can't remember how long again this goes. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just remember seeing Tom. I didn't see the movie, but I remember seeing Tom Holland.
I don't think anyone saw that
trailers for it.
Yeah, so that's going to come out July 17, 2026. I guess we're getting a Christopher Nolan helicopter movie. Do you think he's going to do another big Oppenheimer explosion?
I don't know. I think the gimmick, it's not a gimmick because, like you said, he's amazing. Amazing what he does, but it's always like you hear something about, how he used practical effects in some ridiculous way. For Tenet, it was like, it actually was an airplane. For Oppenheimer, it was like, it actually was a bomb we exploded. So it'll be something like that with helicopters. Yeah, it actually was a helicopter flying into a wall or something like that. Yeah.
Do you think he should just take the actual scene from Oppenheimer where the bomb explodes and just cut it somewhere into the movie?
Yeah, really badly.
Like,
and then, really badly.
Like Tom Holland's about to take off in a helicopter and he just cuts the Oppenheimer explosion.
And then cuts back. So it's really impressive, but he just has to save money.
And it's just like, we did it again. That's it. It looks like the old one, but we actually just shot it twice. And they're like, why'd you put it in this movie?
It's just a slightly different angle.
Yeah. All right, Alex, that's all the news I have for. Wait, I lied. Have you seen the Spider-Man Noir pictures?
No, I have not.
So I'm about to send them to you in real time. You're going to get to see these.
Okay.
Are you even aware we're getting a Spider-Man Noir project?
I think I remember hearing something about it after Into the Spider-Verse.
So it is Nicolas Cage is playing Spider-Man Noir.
Is he playing the Spider-Man Noir from those movies?
I don't know.
It's a live action thing.
But it is live action.
Huh. It's interesting.
The suit actually looks really good.
Yeah, that's definitely good.
That's a lot of green screen going on behind him. This is going to come out on Amazon, which means it'll be really good or terrible.
I like the costume design. I think they're doing a good job of turning something like that into live action. But I guess we'll see. You're right. It's a lot of green screen. Who knows what's happening in the background?
They could be running through a McDonald's right now.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting to see what they. Yeah, exactly. Interesting to see what they do with it. I guess if it's like a Spider-Man project or a,
I think that's
more
probably
noir than Spider-Noir.
I think it's going to be more noir. I don't think Nicolas Cage can move like that. So that is all the news I have. So do you want to talk some trailers?
Let's talk some trailers.
All right. So the big thing that came out was the Marvel Look Ahead trailer. This had so many Disney Plus projects in it. I know you got a chance to see it. Did you take any notes?
I'm really looking forward to. I mean, great lineup. But what I'm looking forward to most is What If season 3.
Really? Everything that you saw, you're looking forward to season 3 of What If?
Yes, I really like What If. It's such a good show. I mean, like it's just its own thing. I enjoyed watching What If, and I'm looking forward to season 3.
All right, fair enough.
What about you?
I thought season 2 was a little lacking with What If.
I don't know. I like seeing the Watcher finally do some shit.
All right, fair enough. I'm looking forward to Daredevil.
Okay, I thought you would say that. But I have to admit that for all the hyping up of Daredevil that you did to me, I never watched. But I know that you did, so I know this is something that you're excited for. I mean, the most of I've gotten. I mean, I think Kingpin looks great, but I don't think he's the villain. It's Muse, isn't it?
It looks like Muse and Bullseye, which you didn't watch the show. You were too busy getting your degree in shadow puppeteering. Bullseye in season 3 of Daredevil is the best part of the entire show. I mean, Kingpin was great, but I think he is the most compelling villain, and it's because they actually fight each other. Because anytime Daredevil fights Kingpin in like any media, it's just Kingpin beating the piss out of him because he's humongous. But he has a new suit in that. You see Bullseye in it. You see Muse. He's really using the little club things. Fisk looks like he's running for mayor, which
I saw one cut.
Is a thing he does a lot in the comics.
Okay.
We also saw John Beltram's Punisher is back. But what'd you think of the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man part? You don't even remember it in there, do you?
No, in Daredevil.
No, in like the other part of the trailer.
You mean the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in the other part of the trailer? No, I don't remember this part.
Okay, they barely showed anything. For a show they announced like 5 years ago, there's like nothing from this show.
Interesting animation style.
He just hits someone with a brick.
Yeah, okay, that's why I don't remember more of it, I suppose. I'm looking forward to Marvel Zombies.
That one looks good.
And where did it come from? What If? There you. I mean, obviously it didn't come from What If, but
no, it did come from What If.
It wasn't a thing in the comics ever before.
Well, Marvel Zombies was a massive thing in the comics, yes, but
yeah, that's what I mean. But I mean, the first it was animated in What If.
Yeah.
So it's promising if something like this does well. All the other cool stories from What If, you know what I mean? There's a lot out there for that stuff.
Yeah. Quick note on Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. This is the one thing I wrote for it. Looks fine.
There you go.
The perfect note. Let's talk in depth on What If season 3 and Zombies real quick. Here's my one note for What If season 3. More of the same.
That's a good thing. It works.
Is it?
For season 1 and 2? Yes.
The only thing I remember really from season 2 is the Happy Hogan Die Hard episode.
Yeah, okay. All right, not all of them are the best episode of TV you've ever seen. Sure.
No, I think that was the best episode I've ever seen.
But it's a chance to see, wait for it, what if? You know what I mean? The authors can do some cool animation that you wouldn't see otherwise and come up with cool stories. Well, you know what I just mean?
Like, show.
Like the what if fight between, two characters that would never normally fight or something like that. It's a chance for, and then they can do sort of the thing for everyone. What if it was a, Christmas episode kind of thing?
Oh, they already did that. Happy Hogan, he was in an air vent.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, is that they have that kind of episode, and they have like, what if these characters fought? What if they went back 1,000 years or whatever it was in medieval one? It's just a fun show that doesn't have any like major meaning on anything else. It's just a chance to see some, and there's no pressure. It's just a one episode thing. If it works, maybe they do a second episode later on.
I think they should do a big, intense, like meaningful thing. Like, what if War Machine got terminal lung cancer?
I think that, I don't know how that would work, because they all team up together in the last episode, don't they? That happens every time. So you'd have like Captain Britain and all these other people, and then just like coughing or wheezing over in the corner. It's not very inspiring, like final, you can't beat like the ultimate vision that way, can you?
I think they should do the War Machine cancer episode, and then in the final one, he doesn't join the team, but like the whole episode plays out, and then there's an in memoriam section for this War Machine that has cancer.
At the very end, it's like, we did this for War Machine, but death off screen.
Yeah, no, death on screen. It's in the War Machine episode. All right. What'd you think of the Ironheart segment of this?
It's interesting. I don't know much about Ironheart, like going back into the comics, but my understanding is like sort of a spin on Iron Man, right?
Yeah. No, she came about because Tony Stark was dead for a while, and they were like, we need an Iron Man, and War Machine doesn't count. So they just made Ironheart.
It seems like they've been setting up, I mean, who knows what happens with the Spider-Man 4 movie, but it seems like they're setting up Tom Holland to be the next, if what they're doing is coming together and creating another series of core, Avengers superheroes for kids to grow up with or whatever. Yeah. It seems like they're getting Tom Holland Spider-Man to be the one in the front. Yeah. So maybe they also want an Iron Man equivalent, someone with technical know-how and building a cool machine on this ultimate team to sell toys or something. I don't know what the goal is. I don't know if it's
sell toys.
Yeah. So it's just want someone everyone can identify with, kind of thing. I don't know.
Their ultimate goal is to milk children for as much money as humanly possible.
Yeah.
No, I guess it's interesting you said that. I had been wondering if they were going to do like Spider-Man is the new Iron Man figurehead. Mm-hmm. And then Ironheart is his like Spider-Man, because you know how Tony Stark just adopted this teenager. Do you think Tom Holland, also a teenager, is going to adopt this teenager?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. It's interesting to see where it goes. I thought it was okay in Black Panther as a concept. I think the actor is good. But it's just strange to see how they work.
She wasn't bad in Black Panther. I actually think the suit looks way better. Mm-hmm. Probably because it's more practical and less CGI garbage. Real quick, let's get it out of the way. They showed a bit of Eyes of Wakanda. This to me was nothing, because it barely showed anything, and I don't know what it's about. And also, I don't care.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
They announced the release date for Deadpool and Wolverine on Disney Plus. Everyone already saw that movie 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't care. Yeah. You know what I do care about, Alex? They showed Wonder Man in this.
Okay. Tell me about Wonder Man.
I don't even think we got the announcement that this show was coming before the trailer dropped.
No.
So this to me is beautiful. I love Wonder Man in the comics. He's just like a struggling actor who's also a superhero. And even though he's an Avenger, he still can't book an acting gig. So I love his character. He teams up with a Beast from X-Men a lot. And that, like, he wears a red jacket at one point in the trailer. It's just ripped straight out of the comics. That's just what he wears all the time. And I'm sure you didn't notice this because you're the least observant man I've ever met.
Okay.
We got the return of the Mandarin in this.
I did not notice that.
No, not
Called
like
it.
the Shang-Chi Mandarin, although he was in Shang-Chi. Remember the guy in Iron Man 3? I think his name was like Trevor or something. The guy who was pretending
Yes.
to be. Yeah, and he's like, I'm an actor.
Yes, him.
Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
this. He was in this trailer. He's giving him pointers.
Huh, he was in Shang-Chi too, wasn't it? That's where he found
Yeah.
out that he was, he just disappeared off too.
Yeah.
Huh.
So this will, I think I said December 2025 this comes out. All right. That was too much Marvel stuff. Let's talk about Star Wars.
Okay.
What'd you think of the Star Wars Skeleton Crew trailer?
Honestly, I liked it because, I mean, we're going to talk about this later when we talk about Venom and Agatha all along, but more and more now the trend seems to be making shows and movies about side characters in already established universes.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time it's like, you know, the side characters in and around some major event. And it's like what they're going through, kind of thing. But in this, it's just like, it's like, you know, this movie could not be not set in the Star Wars universe, and you'd still like, you know, go and watch it. It's like, it's just a different genre, but like, happens to be set in the Star Wars universe. It's like you're watching the Goonies or something. Bunch of kids
I think
fall
this is
down
what
the
that's
cave.
based on. Yeah.
Like, yeah, like, you know, hijinks ensue. That's your movie. That you can do that anywhere, any setting. You can just do it, like, you know, like we're saying, the Goonies. But they've just taken that movie and then put it into Star Wars, and then that, you know, is cool because instead of finding like a, you know, a big boat and treasure underwater, they find a Jedi temple. So you're like, oh, this is like, you know, watching the trailer, I could be like, oh, this is cool. The kids are feeling like, you can be like, oh, they're getting excited kind of thing. It's just what, and then it's like just what kids are experiencing being in Star Wars, which I think, like, you know, saw with Acolyte end up being some of the best Star Wars side character projects. Just about people like living doing their thing.
People hated the Acolyte.
I like the Acolyte.
Okay, I also like the Acolyte, so.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So you can't turn it on me.
No, I will turn it on you. They should have said
Or
this.
sorry,
in
not the Acolyte Andor. What am I talking about? I didn't like Acolyte.
Oh, well, I'm going to stand by it and say I did like the Acolyte, even though I only saw episode 1.
Okay. I wasn't talking about Acolyte. I mean, Andor. Andor was good. Because that was just about people. Acolyte was like actually about the Jedi and all sorts of things. And everyone gets up in arms because it's against the canon or whatever. But, you know, the side characters about people living, no, everyone can be like, yeah, sure, that happened.
Now, some in the Acolyte, it was like episode 2, introduce some Jedi, Force user cult that's not Jedis. But the trick is, Alex, I never made it to episode 2.
I see.
And
yeah, I
the
just remember seeing stuff
started.
about people saying like this character couldn't have existed or something like that. And it's just like, well, you know, a bunch of kids falling down a cave could have existed. Sure. So it's not going to, you know, it's just like about the quality of the movie, not about how it fits into the wider lore.
They should have done this in Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Skeleton Crew looks like a lot of fun. I think it is just Goonies and Star Wars.
Yes.
And Jude Law is a Jedi for some reason, but it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows? I could be eating my words when it comes out, and it turns out Jude Law is like Luke Skywalker's son's brother.
His son's brother's
possessed by his
roommate.
ghost and something like that, and it has some deeper tie-in. And then he force heals all the kids. But I think it's just going to be a fun movie.
With each passing Star Wars project, more and more Jedi survived Order 66, and I think it's ridiculous. This is going to come out December 3rd. That's very soon, actually.
That's very soon.
Yeah. Do you watch the trailer for Unstoppable? New movie coming to Amazon Prime.
I did.
What'd you think of it?
I'll also say that I felt like I watched the movie Unstoppable
Okay.
after watching that trailer.
I also felt like I just watched the movie Unstoppable.
It just kept happening. Like, I was like, man, okay, we're seeing this kid's backstory, where he came up from. And then I'm like, okay, that's the movie. And then it's leading up to a big fight. I'm like, oh no, first we have to get through like applying to college. I'm like, okay, so that's what the story's about. And I'm like, okay, well, and then I'm like, okay, this point must be halfway through the movie. because clearly the tryouts happened and it worked because this coach is talking to him motivationally. So like the coach must have let him on. And then like if the other college kids made fun of him, well, clearly they supported him because it's the scene of him climbing up the hill. You know, I'm like, okay, well, all the potential conflict has been resolved. And I'm like, oh, well, clearly, you know, everyone gets hyped at the final fight because they show his mom like getting people to clap. Yeah. So I was like, I kept feeling tension, being like, oh, do they cheer for him? Does he make it through that? And I was like, oh, they do. He does.
I've seen the tension when his mom was like, "You're not going to clap for my son? What
the
hell's wrong with you?" And then the whole crowd starts clapping.
I thought I should start clapping. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," because the whole time I was thinking, "This is what I'm going to say about the trailer." Like I'm thinking, "Oh, I feel like I've seen the whole movie." And then she turns and looks into my soul and says, "You're not going to start clapping?" I was like, "I'm sorry. Actually, the trailer is fantastic. I take everything back."
My bad. Caught me red-handed. All right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm cheering for the trailer now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it shows the girls are like, "Oh, what a fun mom," but they're terrified. This grown woman just looked at him and was like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" That boy's got one leg and he's whooping him.
It is based on a true story, though.
I think it is, yeah.
So
that'll be out January 16th. Looks fine. 2 more trailers, Alex. Did you watch the trailer for Juror number 2?
I did. Excellent cast, I think. It's a cool premise.
I like Nicholas Hoult. Did you catch that? This is Clint Eastwood is directing this.
No, I did not catch that this is Clint Eastwood directing it.
Yeah, this is getting like a super limited release, even though Clint Eastwood has made like $2 billion. Like that's how much his movies has raked in. And they're still like, we'll put in like 50 theaters.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool concept. Like, yeah, what if the murderer was picked for jury duty? Who knew? So it's like a cool movie.
I mean, it's no matter what, it only ends one of 2 ways, right?
Yeah.
He either turns himself in or he convicts an innocent man.
Yes. You know, probably, it's going to have 1 or 2 ways at the end. But that leaves a lot of, that's why it's about the cast. And that's like fair. Nicholas Hoult and all the people and like giving their performances. And you got to be able to feel like this person who has to make this decision. So it's an opportunity for the actors to do a really fantastic job.
True.
So I'd be interested in seeing it.
He should do some M. Night Shyamalan twists where he's like, actually, she never died and the car was a monster. Yeah, that's already out. So
that's already out?
Yes.
Why are we talking about the trailer? I didn't know that.
I just saw the trailer the other day for the first time when I sat down. I saw 2 different movies this week, and I saw it both times in the theater, and I'm like, wow, that looks great, actually. I'd love to go see it. It's like October 27th. I'm like, that's tomorrow.
Surely the trailer hasn't been out for that long. Or no?
So maybe we're talking about old news, but I don't care. Because you know what? I didn't hear anyone else cover it.
Yeah. There you go.
This is groundbreaking.
Yeah. This is it. This is raw, real material. Movies out now.
And one of the trailers I am most excited for is Love Hurts, which comes out February 7th. This is Short Round's new movie.
Hey, I think he deserves it. He deserves a movie where he's the cool action guy, fucking shit off, and don't mess with him. And he's it's like Nobody for who's the guy who plays Saul Goodman? I
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, but it's like Nobody. You know what I mean? It's like he's a cool actor. I like the guy, and it seems like he's a cool person. I mean, they're always like maybe putting on an act, but it seems like he's a nice guy. So cool. He deserves this movie.
It's like when the dad from Malcolm in the Middle was like, "What if I was a drug lord?" It's Breaking Bad. Yeah, no, this looks really good. He's like, he was a mafia person, but now he's not. Now his brother wants him killed for saving someone. And all the time he's like, I'm a real estate agent.
Bob Odenkirk. Sorry, this.
Oh, Saul Goodman?
Yes.
I think you should have just said Saul Goodman. And you say Bob Odenkirk, the internet's like, who? You say, Better Call Saul. And Oh,
No, I think people knows, man.
okay.
Anyway,
I
good for
don't.
him. I'm looking forward to seeing that movie. Seems
Yeah,
fun.
this looks good. All right. All right. I guess we have to talk about Venom. Alex,
I would like to hear what you think first.
I paid $30 to go see this.
$30.
Yeah. So
What seats did you get? They have a massage chair in there as well. Free popcorn, unlimited popcorn. Who is paying $30 for a movie ticket?
well, me, but no, my brother told me he wanted to go see this with me.
Okay.
Two $15 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Because of
Time of your
course
life.
I didn't get to go see it. Tuesday nights are usually like $5 or $6 tickets at most theaters.
Okay.
I went and saw a much better movie Tuesday night. I went and saw Saturday Night, the movie about the first 90 minutes before the first SNL taping.
Oh, I did not know that was a movie that came out. Maybe it's different over here.
No, I think it came out over there. It's a really good movie.
Okay.
Everyone go see Saturday Night, a movie I wish we were here talking about, but instead we have to talk about Venom: The Last Dance.
Back to Venom. Yes. Well, look, I called you after I got out the movie, and I was like, "Go see this." I think I promised actually to pay for your movie ticket, which I take back now. I'm not giving you $30. Yeah. Anyway, I was like, I need you to watch this just because I need to hear your thoughts on it.
I won't be releasing the video for this, but just wow, oh my god.
Does that say nothing on it?
I turned my phone around, it looks completely blank.
Yes. Oh my god, that's a lot of notes. Okay.
You scroll through it.
Wow. Okay, well, I've been condensing all my thoughts into like a couple of sentences about what I think they did wrong. So spoiler free. I was doing spoiler free notes.
Spoiler free up front, yeah. Look, Tom Hardy he's no better in this than he was in any of the others. You know? Like, the acting in this movie is not the problem. This is a script issue.
This is what I think the problem is this is a movie that doesn't know what it is. And again, entirely spoiler free, and we can talk later about like plot wise why it doesn't know what it is. But just like scene to scene, there's like comedy scene of him hanging out with Venom.
Yep.
And then it gets like into dark horror, like you're scared what's around the corner. Mm-hmm. And then it's fun comedy again, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, actually I won't say it because spoilers, but the theme changes again. And I mean it's I think I can say without spoiling it leaned hard into it being an alien movie. You think that's not spoilers?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Venom's an alien, so I think all of these.
Yes, exactly. But you didn't really think about that before. You know what I mean? Before it was. Yeah, we can talk about it when we're not spoiler free, I think.
Well, all that being said, how would you describe the plot of this movie?
Oh, now we are spoiling.
No, don't spoil it. Just give me a brief synopsis.
Okay. Look, I just talked about this with Skeleton Crew. We're going to talk about it with Agatha. Movies are moving towards side characters.
Yep.
Within the universe. But not that Venom is a side character, whatever, anti-hero. You're getting like Craven. It's just about this, which is interesting because it can allow for, in-depth stories to be told in some cases. Also, a lot of the time, again, we'll talk about this with Agatha, but they can separate it from everything else. Like there are no consequences. We'll talk about when we talk to Agatha, but there's this whole world of like magic and witchcraft that's being at this point in the MCU largely unexplored, and now they're getting into it. But they can be like, oh yeah, whatever, witches are hidden away in plain sight, so that's why you don't run into them. And so then they have like license to do what they want within that, because otherwise people start asking questions about why the Avengers didn't show up or something like that.
Yeah.
So in Venom, you also have the chance to access a side character, and it's in a different universe. As a stab, the very first thing they do in the movie is he's like not in the other universe anymore. Because I think at the end credits, some multiverse shit happened. He was like, "I hate Spider-Man."
Yeah,
and then he's back, and then they're like, "Okay, so nothing else in the MCU matters. We've established what the multiverse is. You can do whatever you want with Venom." And then they took that, and probably what they said to the same Agatha. All along directors. Oh, you can do whatever you want with Agatha, like within reason. It's its own little thing. And the Venom directors and producers took that the wrong way. They're like, we can do anything we want with Venom. It's his last movie. There's no tie to any other larger cinematic universe, its own universe. Oh my God, we can do it anything we want. And then it proceeds to be the most convoluted, is every scene is a different theme, and I felt like
I feel like this didn't have a director.
Yes, I felt like you could peel back the curtain, and I felt like I was looking at the director and deciding what was going to happen next, which is never a good thing for a movie. Sure, I'm like, I can look at a movie logically and say, oh, they put a fight scene there because they put a fight scene there. And they decided to have a meaningful moment here. Sure. But this, I felt like I could see him being like, oh, I want horror right here at this specific moment. Oh, I want Venom and Tom Hardy. And I've also felt like it was Tom Hardy, because I didn't feel as much. I mean, Tom Hardy did a fantastic job of acting Eddie Brock, but I could see the director in my mind saying, like, here's a scene where you're going to look into the camera and we're going to get emotional. Here's a scene where we're going to have flashbacks. It's like, I could see the director planning out the movie, and it's pulled back the curtain in a way that made me like, what the hell is happening? And then on top of that, the plot itself, like what happened in the movie, I was like, I don't know. It was also there's a whole subplot. About 20 minutes in, I had to pinch myself and be like, did I walk out and walk back into the wrong theater? It is.
Yeah, there's.
Can we talk about it? Can we talk about spoilers now? Can we go into spoilers?
Well, hold on, because there are some really weird bits where it's like, is this the same movie? There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't get resolved in this.
Yes. And look, the other thing is that I felt like there was absolutely no tie whatsoever to side characters in the previous movie. They're like coming up with new side characters. And sure, I didn't see Venom 2 immediately before watching Venom 3. It's been a couple of years, but that's the point. Is it's
Venom
like
2 together.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I remember. And so like whatever. The point is all these side character movies. I don't want to have to refresh up on the previous two side character Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock stories before watching this. I want to be like, okay, I can just go watch this movie and like it'll sort of jar for me what happened last time, and I'll enjoy it. I don't need to take notes to enjoy this movie about random, Spider-Man villain number 10. But I felt like I was watching it and I was like, what happened last time? Surely I would remember if what happened last time led up to right now. But I was like, I don't think I've seen the side character before. I was like having to reach back in my memory to be like, what happened? But they treated these like seemingly these facts as they were seemingly fundamental and so important to the plot. And I was like, was I supposed to remember? Anyway.
There's a bit in this where they talk, there's like a character died in the second one, and they're like, he's wanted for this. He was the only guy that we saw walk out of there, so he must have killed him. And I sat there, I'm like, who the hell was that? Like, I had no recollection of that character.
Yes, but then he shows up later. He's like an integral part. This scenes where it's just him talking to himself in a room.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't remember who it was either. And I was like, oh, this is like, it's got to be something important, because this actor is getting like a lot. And again, pull back the curtain. I'm seeing this as the director going like, let's give this actor certain screen time here. And I'm like, okay, so I must be supposed to be paying attention here. But I'm like, why? What? I don't remember. And it's you know what I mean? Like, maybe I remember if I immediately watched the second one, we walked from the third one. But these kind of movies, you should be able to just walk into the theater and be like, yeah, okay. I know what's going on. Or I'm reminded of what's going on enough to enjoy it.
I just looked it up because as we're talking, I had the thought, I'm like, was this heavily affected by the writer's strike? Apparently, yes, it was, which so much sense.
That's why they
there's so
had an
much of
actor
this.
come there. Yeah, they had a writer come on for a week, write a scene, and he was told it was going to be a horror movie, and then strike, and they brought another writer in just for a week. He was told comedy flashback movie, and that's how you get this mismatch of scenes. That must be what happened. Writer strike.
There's so much of this that's like really convoluted. Like you could take out everything that happened with Mrs. Chen, who was like the only other character who made it all three movies.
Yes,
and that's not even a spoiler. She's just in this for a minute, does a dance sequence, and then just gone.
Yes, in fact, and this is like I guess a mild spoiler, but she like wins it's at the casino. Like we run into her when Tom Hardy is down, or Eddie Brock is down, and he sees her, and it's like this comedy thing. They're in Vegas, Venom and gambling, whatever. I think the scene's in the trailer. And then he sees Miss Chen, and she's just won a whole bunch of money. But like immediately before this, by the way, massive existential universe-ending threat was revealed. Yeah, and then he just goes into Vegas and like is dancing with Mrs. Chen.
Yeah, he's just doing.
Venom has just sat him down and done his gravelly voice, a whole shit ton of exposition.
There's so many exposition dumps in this. There's one towards the beginning where they're like walking through. There's like a part of this is Area 51 is getting decommissioned, but there's a lab under Area 51, and they're just like very out in the open talking to each other about like, oh, well, this place is getting shut down in 2 days. And she's like, but my lab's not getting shut down. And he goes, no, because your lab is 200 feet under the ground. No one would dare find this.
Yeah.
Like, and talk like normal people. What's happening?
Yeah. I felt like I was watching
on set.
It was any like 2010s alien military movie.
Yeah.
Right. Arrival. It felt like Arrival, which is a good movie because it's like I enjoyed watching Arrival. It's a weird stuff with time. It's her learning the language. They're treating these aliens as these mysterious figures, and what would in reality the military do if this happened? And which would work if our mysterious alien hadn't spent the last two movies being fun, silly, goofy guy who like makes jokes and he bites people's head off, but he's a loving personality. You gotta like him. And then like it's just such a weird crossover. I don't know why they wait. If they wanted this to be this kind of dynamic, why wait till a certain movie?
Yeah, there's they crammed so much in here. This almost to me was like they wanted this to be a different movie, and then the executives were like, "What if this was Venom 3?"
Yes.
One of the characters at Area 51 is a scientist, and she has all this trauma because as a child.
Can we spoil the movie now? Are we gone to that point? What?
No one's going to see this movie, so I don't think anyone cares. So we're getting into spoilers.
No, I disagree. Like I told Josh, I think you should see this movie just to it's like you should have gone. Everyone said go see Morbius. You just got to go see Venom.
Okay, fair enough. Don't do what I did. Don't spend $30 on Venom.
No, that's true. Sneak in if you can. Go in to see the documentary, the SNL documentary, and then sneak into Venom.
Yeah.
And then about 5 minutes later, walk back out. And there you go. You just got to experience for a minute. Look, if we're talking about spoilers, I want to talk more about this military stuff because they had some good actors. Yeah. It just felt like fundamentally it was the director had a handbook in front of him of tropes for major scenes and did it. Horror is like dim lighting, corners, you see something move. But it's like, you know what I mean? Sure, yes. And sometimes that's why my car is good. But in this case, it's like I can see that he's just done that. And then like flashback we'll talk about the alien family in a minute. That needs a whole nother discussion. But like fun flashback montage scene. And then singing and dancing. And then with the military, it was like serious. Like we get that scene with the characters are, hard general who has to make the tough decisions and like scientist who's just trying to make the world a better place and realizes that at the very end, she changes sides to help out the main character. And I was
I hated
I've seen these characters and it's an established trope. But like the general, like so this the xenomorph, that is a brutal scene, and they like this all of a sudden Venom is just being like, you know, making drinks at the bar, haha, funny.
Yeah.
And then we see like a man's legs get put into torn through this blender of an alien.
Yeah.
And the general's like, my man, they took it. And I'm like, oh my God, they took it. Oh my God. But then immediately before that, Venom bit 5 people's heads off, you know? And so it's like, what is this? But like, then when we get
for laughs.
we'll talk about that. Yes. That made me genuinely feel uncomfortable. Sure, Venom bites people's heads off. We know that. But in that scene, he bit those 5 people's heads off and then like immediately transformed back into Eddie Brock. Yeah. So you know, it was just a bit too close for me where I was like, oh, he did just, you know, it made me feel like he was a cannibal. Or like he did eat 5 people's brains. And when it's Venom, you're like, oh, whatever, it's a symbiote, he needs it, you don't think about it. But seeing like Tom Hardy almost, you know, licking his lips there after that, and I was like, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah. I have some notes on the government here. First of all, one of the first things we see General Strickland do is he goes on base and he immediately like puts his eyes up to the machine and just makes acid rain. Why is that machine on base? Besides the final act, we need something that'll
which he like his whole sacrifice. I don't know. They had these major character arcs within it. The general had a major character arc, which ends up with him sacrificing himself. And I'm like, I thought we had side characters. He had his like ex-wife or something in the previous movies. Like what happened? Where are they? Instead, we introduce these brand new characters, making go through major character changes, which might have been more impactful if it took 3 movies instead of like an hour and a half. And then, like, you know, the scientist lady goes through the whole. I mean, okay, first of all, I thought that this is where I was pinching myself, wondering if it was a different movie. Venom's just done his whole thing. I think you just get introduced to Null, and then it's like them running on a beach and lightning, and she kills her brother.
Yeah,
I was like, but it's not like just her flashback and then back to Venom. It's like that flashback. Then she wakes up. I'm like, okay, I guess she's important. Then she just gets ready for work, and then she just gets in her truck or whatever and drives. And I'm like, where Venom? Hello, what's happening?
Hold on. But there's so much wrong with this movie. Let's take it step by step.
I know. I'm sorry. It's easy for me to get distracted because the movie has so many different. You know what I mean? If I talked about a horror movie, I'd talk about the horror aspect. But you have to talk about the horror aspect and the comedy because it's just like a bunch of different movie themes rolled into one.
All right.
Yes, I'll let you talk.
So I'm just going to go through. I have so many bullet points. I'm just going to run through them because I did take them like in order of the movie.
Yes. Okay.
General Strickland, he goes on base and makes acid rain on something and just literally just drives away. I don't know what the point of that machine is besides using it in the final act, and big spoiler.
Yes, just to establish that it's there.
Venom dies at the end of this. No reason, it seems.
Yes.
But they have an acid rain machine at Area 51. They're not hiding it. It's out in the open.
But they don't commission that part, hopefully. Or maybe they haven't yet. I forget.
I don't know. When Venom is fighting the dog ring people, he just puts a cone on one of them. Did you notice that?
No.
Like he's in the middle of fighting one and he just sticks a cone on a man's head. Like a
yes, the whole
cone.
Thing's for laughs, and then he eats the people. That's what I'm saying.
Quick note on that. The guy whose head's being eaten last must be the worst experience. You just watched your 3 boys who you're running a dog fighting ring with just get their heads chomped off and you know you're next.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
That is horrifying.
The government decommissioning Area 51 and leaving their shit everywhere is the most accurate thing in this movie. There's a part where General Strickland just harasses the girl with the Christmas pin. That's her whole character, by the way. She's just like, she has a good relationship with her mother, and her mother made her this Christmas tree pin. And General Strickland's like, you're a weirdo. It's July. Take that shit off. You're harassing someone for having a good familial relationship.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think I ever caught her name.
No.
All I know is
Strickland is the only name I remember. I guess people must refer to him the most.
Crazy exposition dumps. We talked about that.
Yes. They also, I mean, like, I'll say that Venom, I was like, it's difficult to do an exposition dump with him because of his whole voice, but I did understand what was going on, sort of.
The one scientist who, like, she was on a beach with her brother as a kid, and she got struck by lightning, but she held hands with her brother, and it all went to him, and it killed him. And this is her tragic backstory.
That's what I'm saying. It's a whole backstory in one movie. Like that, she could be the main character.
Except I also didn't get her name. What's my note here? Those dumbass kids, it's their fault for being on the beach in a thunderstorm.
Yeah, no, it was really, that's totally on them.
There's an airplane sequence that's like really heavily featured in the trailer. Like, I feel like every trailer CGI, I saw had him hanging onto that airplane. What the hell was the point of that? He was on there for a minute, moved him from point A to point B, but point A was the desert, and point B was still the desert.
And then I think it was just to show how terrifying these xenomorphs are. Like, it can jump terrified. Like 30,000. Yeah, oh no, but like, oh wow, this thing can jump 30,000 feet in the air, like in one leap. And it's like this thing, you cannot fight it. They're big on that. They show it chewing up Venoms left and right, and people left and right. And it's designed to shred symbiotes. But as soon as like it makes that big call and this is the end fight, but a bunch of the rest of them show up. Yeah. It's a scaling problem. And then Venom's actually able to take them all down. Why don't they just try jumping into space?
I don't know.
When, if all of them jump together, they go into space probably. They go 30,000 times 5.
Well,
that's over 40,000.
Let's talk about the airplane for a minute, because a big thing for this is like Venom has a codex because he saved Eddie Brock, and they can see the codex, but only when he's in Venom form, which kind of seems like an excuse to not use CGI and save the budget.
Yes. And of course, that's what I was talking about. Immediately, he's like, this is serious. This guy destroys the world. These xenomorphs will shred us. We cannot be in Venom form. And then he's one go on the slot machines and he's dancing with Miss Chen. Yeah, like it's like, this is serious. This is the final movie. This matters here, man. He put his foot through a machine, and it's like, oh, let's do a Seaver laughs. He puts his foot through a machine. Miss Chen, like, is in the penthouse suite. Let's do a nice dance, send off. But no, remember the xenomorphs can leap that distance still, and he just like crosses all of Las Vegas into the penthouse suite in a second. I'm like, okay, so it is still serious.
That's what make up your mind. It's what I don't understand about this movie is like normally in a good movie, you know where every single character is. I can't follow any character's location in this movie. When Venom's on an airplane, he's in a desert, and somehow we skip a part where he goes to an airport, gets on the runway, and hangs onto a plane. We just see him. He's in the air in Venom.
Yeah, he's made it. No one stopped him from... Did he leap onto the moving plane? It was too late. Did no one see it taxiing out? But he's just there. He's on the plane.
There's this big space bug, and we don't know where it is, and we don't know where the plane overhead is. We just know that it shoots like this, like at a 45-degree angle, and suddenly
just triangulate. Somehow it happens, like in all the locations on Earth, to also land in the desert.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he happened to be on a plane flying over it. Also, going to New York. I guess the whole plot of the movie is go to New York. That's his reason.
Venom just wants to see the Lady Liberty. There's a part.
No, that's because he has a defense lawyer. He's trying to find. He has a lawyer or a crooked judge. So
I forgot about that because it doesn't matter after he says it.
Yeah, because helpfully, as in every military movie, it's like, you never speak of this again. By the way, you're pardoned. Yeah. God,
I'm just so perplexed by the airplane scene. He says at one point, he's like, and this is just going to be my last thing and we'll move on. He says, I can't believe we hung on to a plane. And Venom says, that was an Airbus A320. Why do you know that? Anyone could have written any line, and instead they said, what if Venom was an aviation expert?
Yes. But the most important thing to talk about, arguably, is when it all comes down to it at the end. The last scenes, all the Venoms, all the symbiotes.
None of them matter.
None of them matter. I felt like I was like, oh man, maybe I was like, this is what it must be. This is why I'm so confused. All of this must be in the comics, and this is all like fan service, and like, here you go. These are all the Venoms from all the different comics. Mm-hmm. Now this is bringing it all together because it's a final movie. Let's do what it is. And I was like, okay, surely that must mean for the rest of the movie, this is also all being like established in the comics. And like, I just didn't understand because I'm not like, I don't know much about Venom, and like, I would enjoy this movie if I did some reading and then came back to it.
No, that wouldn't have mattered.
Okay.
Yeah, they have so many different symbiotes in this. One of them, I don't remember his name, but it's like they're two different symbiotes and they merge. Is they attached to two different people? So are those two guys one guy now?
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
it must be established in the comics, right? What is going on?
We get
also,
Agony.
why did they try and make the green? I'm calling them Venoms. Why did they try and make the green symbiote seductive? You know, it's this creepy guy standing in a corner talking to himself, but then all of a sudden it's like hot green symbiote.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Everything with this movie is wrong.
And then just like lightning symbiote. Also, yeah. The plot of the first two movies was that like it is unusual to be able to have a symbiote bind to someone. Yeah. Like that is why Eddie Brock is unique. Everyone else has issues. Everyone else has issues bonding symbiotes. They all like immediately die. Like that was the whole part of the first movie, was like human testing. And then but then all of a sudden they can just jump from people to people. They're totally fine. And problem solved.
Yeah.
It's just they just had to want to.
It did not matter at this point. Yeah, everything's wrong with the third act. They get like kidnapped, and then Eddie Brock escapes, and then Venom is just casually not in a cell or anything.
Also, the whole family in the van doing the road trip.
Let's talk about them real quick. He's got to be the worst father ever, right?
I was kind of hyped at the end when his kids were like, "Oh, this is cool!" Like they got to see some aliens. Good for the dad.
He almost got his whole family killed.
Why it was in the movie, I don't know.
He had this guy's whole thing is all he wants to do is see Area 51, and since he's getting decommissioned, his wife, who's been in better things, I don't remember the actress's name, it's the mom from Ted. You know, she's like, I'm a good wife. I'm gonna put. I felt like
they made this movie like they just no end in sight. Just wrote it as it happened. They're like, okay, he needs to get to New York. Let's put him on a plane. And they're like, oh, but let's show how scary the thing is, the xenophage is. Let's have it jump up in the plane and knock him off. Oh, he's in the desert. What do we do now? Should we go back and rethink where the xenophage attacks him? No, he's in the desert. There's no looking back. Let's just have some people in the van pick him up and take him to Las Vegas. Oh, he's in Las Vegas. Let's have him. You know, it's just like there's no like maybe there's a better way to get to this point. It was just like, yeah, we're I've written it so far. We're up to this point. Might as well keep going. Oh, I guess we're in the bottom area 51. And there's a bunch of symbiotes around. Well, let's just have them attach to people and have it work. The only looking back they did was the acid tanks. They're like, oh, we should probably establish that those are a thing.
Yeah. We've spent so much time on this.
Yes.
We need to talk about two big things, and let's move on to Agatha. Let's talk about the fact that Venom dies. I don't think it matters. I think he's going to come back in the next one.
Yeah.
There's a post-credits.
They left room for it, didn't they? With the cockroach.
Yeah, because they like collect a small sample of him. He leaves in a bar at the beginning of the movie, and then at the end it's like, look, that survived. Venom didn't, though. None of this matters. But
I don't think it's coming back. No? I think this is like the first War Machine, the guy who's going to be War Machine. And like, I'm going to try that on someday. Yes, I'm going to try that on someday, or whatever he says. This is that, but for Venom. They're just sure they're putting it there.
Fair enough.
I think that looking at the creative license that they took with this movie, I think that they were told leave it open in case there are no plans to bring Venom back after this.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. Hence Venom: The Last Dance.
Fair enough. I don't think we really needed a montage of the first two movies of a bunch of scenes that no one remembered.
Well, okay, you can't say that because I don't think we really needed a lot of this movie.
Fair enough.
So, why not? Why not have a montage in there? It reminded me of you should have put it at the beginning so I could remember everything that happened in the last two movies. And I still wouldn't have understood anything anyway, because I think all the side characters are new.
Yeah, no, so I don't think any of that mattered. But the big thing in this movie that we've not really touched on is Noel.
Yeah.
I have a note here that says,
I mean, he's in the movie. There's a couple of scenes
in the movie. He's the one who wants the Codex to be free. The symbiotes trapped him a long time ago, but he just sends monsters after him. And the monsters fail, but then at the end, he's like, I'm out. I'm free. How? Yeah. Don't worry about it. But I'm on the loose. Yeah. They should have...
all the Codex stuff didn't matter. He was getting out anyway. And then if they close the door on this universe, that's it. Like, Venom isn't a cockroach. What's he going to do against this terrifying god being that's coming for Earth? Or I guess, I don't even know if he's coming for Earth. The symbiotes just happened to end up there,
Yeah. I don't think
he's going to attack like a planet light years away. It doesn't matter.
People are saying that they're going to do like a Sinister Six movie to take on Noel. I have a note here that says Noel being, the Sony Pictures Marvel movies are referred to as, right?
No.
The Sony Pictures universe of Marvel movies is commonly acronymed as SPUM.
Okay.
So I have written here, Noel being the SPUM Thanos is on brand for everything being worse in the SPUM universe.
SPUM universe? Well, they're not even in the same universe. Like, right? No, you're right. No, I think that Falcon...
Kraven, Morbius...
Or not
Venom.
Falcon, Vulture.
Yeah, it's all SPUM.
Did he switch universes or something? They're all bringing them into the same one?
No, they were already in the same one. Then he was like, what if he was in the MCU? And then the MCU was like, don't. Please take him back. We don't want him. And then one last thing. Right when they do the Noel cameo where it's like, this is Thanos. This is our Thanos. They cut to I had some help from Post Malone and Morgan Wallen in the credits. An unusually jarring tone shift.
Well, that's the whole movie. At that point, I wasn't surprised.
Fair enough.
I was like, I was not. I was like, okay, sure. Why not?
All right. Out of 1 to 3 stars, 1 being the worst thing you've ever seen, 3 being the best thing you've ever seen, how many would you give this?
Definitely a 1.
Yeah. All right. We're on the same page for that.
I thought about giving it points for novelty, but it doesn't deserve them.
I'm willing to take points away because the novelties were so bad.
Yeah. Anyway, in a second, we're going to talk about Agatha All Along, which is another TV show that, we'll get into it, but it's another TV show that I think, it was about like a side character. They're given largely do whatever you want.
Yeah.
They very clearly make sure it's isolated from everything else. They did that very, very well.
Yes.
So we'll get to compare the two, but I'll say that I don't think it was a very good movie.
Yeah. No,
but
agreed.
Still go see it. Don't pay $30.
Go see it on a Tuesday. Pay $5. Don't give Sony all your money. They need to learn a lesson from this. All right, Alex, Agatha All Along wrapped up this past weekend. What'd you think of the show? I know you and I both watched this. You watched it more spread out. I shotgunned this in one night. So
I've been waiting to talk about Agatha All Along. This was such a good show. I loved watching. Well, okay, it wasn't like I wasn't, it's not winning any Oscars. I wasn't blown away and by its like connection to the larger Marvel universe, but I enjoyed watching this show, which I think is honestly, with all these Marvel shows that are coming out, is a tall order because everyone's expecting something like incredible. It's going to connect, coming out of, the whole like Infinity War Endgame arc. Everyone's expecting all these shows to be so much more. And then when they don't necessarily reach that expectation, I feel like people are expecting them to shoot too high. But with this, I actually enjoyed what I was watching. It was like a good self-contained story. I like the character arcs. Most of the characters, and we can talk about that more, but I enjoyed watching Alex all along. And I think that, that's what they should be shooting for these shows. It's like an interesting story. In some ways, it connects to everything else that's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. This to me felt more like one of the movies, because, the Winter Soldier didn't, to everything happening at once at the MCU, but this harkened back more to me of like what WandaVision was, which, it's a direct continuation, but it is more self-contained. There wasn't as much crossover. I think this had a significantly lower budget than most MCU projects, and I think that really helped this. Because
I totally agree. It's so much more character driven, I thought.
Yeah. Something like Moon Knight should have followed this path. Because I liked Moon Knight, but the budget on that was way too big. Like, why was there a huge hippo in that show?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, I think they had the advantage of, a lot of the current MCU TV show projects have this. Like, Moon Knight was exploring largely unexplored, like all this Egyptian god and goddess stuff. But this had the advantage of, like, sure, a bit explored in WandaVision, the whole magic side of stuff, bit in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. But really, this was like they established pretty early on that these are in, second episode, that witches hidden away, doing their own thing. No one talks about them. No one knows that they're really there. So then that gives them creative license. I mean, of course they're doing this based on the comics, but gives them creative license to do what they want with the characters because they know they don't have to bring it into anything larger. But then they do bring it into something larger, which in episode 6, which I thought was amazing. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, we can talk about the first 5 episodes first.
I have some notes. Like I said, I thought this was a very solid entry. I think when they announced this, no one expected this to be good. This was in that big dump of greenlighting everything coming out.
People were thinking like, oh man, another side character, another villain, whatever.
Yeah, so I am actually pleasantly surprised with how good this was. Getting into the actual show, Agatha starts this as like a cop because, Wanda had put that little spell on her that like she forgot who she really was at the end of WandaVision. So we come into that reality for her, which kind of changes as it goes along, but initially she's like this has-been cop.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to see Agatha, or the actor for Agatha, play this other different thing. I think you saw a bit from the trailer that this is what's going on, so I wasn't like shocked to see that this was what was happening. And then you're like, okay, well, obviously the show isn't about her being a cop, so something else must be going on here. But It was interesting to see where it went by the end of the episode and how it sort of started to bring in side characters. And we'll get to it, but I think this is a very, very rewatchable show. Even just this episode, if you rewatch it, you start knowing stuff before. And I'll talk about this more for sure, but I would rewatch a show. Throughout the whole thing, I kept getting like realizations of like, oh, that's what happened. I bet if I rewatched this couple of episodes, that would make me understand so much more what's going on. And then you get to the end of the show and you're like, I would actually rewatch this just because I feel like there's so much there that, and just talking about this first episode, like all these hints that she's not, really being a cop and stuff like that. They play it out later, what's actually happening.
Yeah.
The whole time. But I still thought it was really interesting what they did with this.
And that's what I liked about WandaVision too, was that there was a rewatchability to that because there was so much intrigue around that show. And it's the same thing here. Like, we get introduced to a character called Teen, and we don't get the reveal of who he actually is till like episode 6.
Yes. So. Yeah, I know. And so the first 5 episodes, right? The whole first episode is kind of setting up where Agatha's being, and then no, she's not actually under the spell anymore. And then it turns out that she wants to go down the witch's road or whatever. We don't really understand all her motivations at this point, but you do later on. It all comes back to him. Yep. And then the first 5 episodes you're like, okay, I see where the show is going. She collects all the people. You're like, okay, these are her side characters. They go into the witch's road. You have this sort of antagonist of the 7 people hunting her down. And so whatever, they escape, they're on the road. The trials are like them in different time period settings. All right, I see what's going on here. Each trial is about one of the side characters or getting inside the side characters. Whatever. I'm interested. Sure. I like to see where, how these actors can play these characters, like see what's going. We got the subplot with Rio, Aubrey Plaza. And yeah, interested to see what's going on. And then episode 6 happens. And it's like, boom, you thought this wasn't a Marvel show. You forgot what we are able to draw on because we are the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
And that was such an awesome reveal for me. And we're only halfway through the season. There are more reveals to come in the final 3 episodes. But episode 6, I was like, wow, that's right. More is going on here. Then, and this is what Marvel Cinematic Universe and what these TV shows should be doing.
Yeah.
Is stories about the characters and, whatever side subplots maybe adapted from the comics. And then they're like, oh, by the way, don't forget, this is all connected. But they don't spend the whole show trying to establish that connection. They just have one episode of being like, here's what's going on. It's a cool reveal based on WandaVision. Yeah. And then it comes all back down to the characters. And I think that's what they could be doing right with all these other shows.
I agree. Like these first 5 episodes, we get Teen is wanting to use Agatha because she's the only one who has survived the Witch's Road, which is something that just is like the ultimate power boost, basically. It like grants the witch whatever they are wanting at the end. And so those first 5 episodes are just, this coven that she's assembled of powerless witches that
so all for their own we're thinking for their own reasons. We're going to find out why through their trials, why they want the power. That's the character arc. That's the show, is what you're thinking. Yeah. Going into, say, episode 6.
And then episode 6 hits, and things get like, we can't even talk in this non-spoiler section about anything that happens past episode 6 because is so intense and the twists are so like, they really hit, but there's so many of them, but I don't feel like there's a couple shows I've seen recently where it's like, oh my God, another twist. We haven't settled from the first one, but this one I feel like was really good. Like we got them so spread out, like it had time to sink in.
Yes, and then episode 6 is a big reveal, and you're like, oh, that's what's going on here. Then episode 7, I mean, it's about another side character, but you're like, oh, that's what's been going on with all these weird flashbacks. Yeah. And then episode 8, you're like, oh, that's what's been going on. And then episode 9, you're like, oh my God, that's what's been going on this whole time. It's just back to back, like about the different characters, about Agatha as well. This is what's happening. I do think that might be all we can talk about, spoiler free.
Maybe. I mean, I think the design of everything here is really good. I think the sound design's good. There was a couple different musical parts in this. So I thought for a lower budget, everything looked really good. Also, the Witch's Road, you could tell that's like 3 different sound stages that they just made up. And that's most of the set for this.
Really?
Yeah. Like you could tell that's where some of the budget was saved, because I don't think this was filmed on like that big Halo screen where everything moves around you that The Mandalorian did. Mm-hmm. That so many shows are using now. But I think The Witch's Road was really cool design-wise. And one last thing before we get into spoilers. Did you catch they name-drop Mephisto in this?
No, I did not catch that.
Yeah, they do that, and a lot of people talked about that, because for whatever reason, like every single Marvel show that has come out, people are like, oh, Mephisto's going to be the bad guy. This is going to, like, everyone wants Mephisto in these shows, and I don't understand that.
Yeah, I think the first time I heard about it was people were talking about who the villain was going to be for Spider-Man, I think, where Mysterio ended up being the villain. People were thinking Mephisto was going to be the villain as far back as that. Yeah.
No, I don't get what the hype about Mephisto is, because as soon as we get Mephisto, we were talking about it earlier in the episode in regards to what's Spider-Man 4 is and what the title was. Mephisto is the main reason we got that One More Day story in the comics, where he's like, actually, I would rather sacrifice my marriage for my aunt. And like broke up 10 years of a relationship just to reset Spider-Man to be a single loser who lives with his aunt. So, and people hated that. So, but the minute we get Mephisto in this, that's that's where this is going. So I don't understand what the hype about Mephisto is. But we did finally get that name drop after everyone assumed he was the bad guy. And like people thought Mephisto was going to be the bad guy in Loki. And that
Really?
that wouldn't have fit anywhere.
Yes. I don't know if they're intentionally keeping it open-ended. I mean, like, we know that coming up is Doom as the next big villain. But yeah,
and after that,
who
we're
knows?
supposedly moving into like X-Men stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So
That'd be cool.
the only thing I could think it would work with would be like a Midnight Suns movie with like a Ghost Rider and Blade, but
Yeah, so you're talking about before with Blade being
even the
canceled,
Blade
yeah.
can't pick up off the ground. So, yeah, I don't know where this is going, but what would you rate this out of 3 stars, Alex?
Out of 3 stars, I would rate this 3.
I agree.
I think for what it is and what it's trying to do, it absolutely hits the spot and goes above and beyond that. It's not trying to be Endgame. It's trying to be a show about a side character villain. You have an incredible cast. Like all the actors really kill it in their roles, I think.
Yeah.
I was really invested in this. And I think they did a great job of just trying to be like a Marvel TV show. That's what, with all that they can draw on now, they've established the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's what they should be doing.
I totally agree. I think this was a great entry in this. I would also give it 3 stars. I mean, for something that I was just going to skip altogether because it was such a nothing project to me, none of the trailers even looked that interesting. I was so pleasantly surprised by this. Even like I watched this whole thing in the span of probably 12 hours. Like I got up to episode 6 and was like, oh my God, I want to keep going, but it is 4 a.m. And I went to sleep and I finished it like within 10 hours. So, yeah, I think this was really good. This is definitely a 3-star show. Definitely go watch this. And if you haven't seen it, pop out of here unless you love spoilers, because now we're getting into the meat and potatoes here. All right, so I'm gonna start off swinging with the teen reveal.
Okay.
Because I think he kind of becomes the main character of this after that reveal of who he really is.
Yes.
I had this spoiled for me before I watched the show. This was all over Instagram.
Did you really? It was a fantastic. I had not been spoiled. Fantastic reveal for me.
I bet.
I think that episode 6, was just amazing. Really well done. You could feel, like, separate from the whole, like, oh my God, he's Billy Maximoff. You could feel like, because he comes home, he's died, being reincarnated, doesn't recognize his parents, and it's actors that we, the watcher, haven't seen before. So we feel they do a great job of using that and making us feel like that we can understand what he's feeling, out of place, doesn't know who these people are. He's like, should I? He's questioning himself,
Yeah.
And from that point forward, I think that Billy becomes and even before that, when you're looking back, he's like a placeholder for the audience.
Yeah.
And I think that his relationship with Agatha is really key because he keeps trying to see the good in her. And we as the audience keep trying to see the good in her. We're like, okay, this show must have been made about her for a reason. She must be misunderstood villain. Like, we're going to understand why she does what he does. It's something to do with, her kid who died, whatever. Yeah. We're going to, she's going to make the right decision in the end. And that's exactly what Billy or William, or, I guess it is Billy.
Yeah.
Wants to think as well. He's like, okay, Agatha is truly good. I see the good. There's several lines, I think, about him just saying like, oh, she does have feelings, or she does have a personality, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then she doesn't. She repeatedly lets down Billy and the audience by just genuinely being a villain and being evil and turning her back on people without any hesitation whatsoever. Even right up when we get to the end, but she's like, yeah, I brought you Billy to death. Which is like fantastic because as the viewer, you're thinking, oh, this is it. This is where she turns around. This is where she's the good guy. Yeah. She does have feelings after all. And then she doesn't. I mean, inevitably she does because we had the flashback to her and the kid or whatever. But even that, the whole final episode, she was just evil. She was like, abusing her, strictly abusing her kid, but she was using her child to gain power by killing people. Like, that is a fucked up thing to do.
That is really fucked up.
That is a messed up thing to do, man. Like, so she is a villain. She always has been. We don't get we get a sad backstory, but she still was a villain before then. It's not like the death of her kid like made her go crazy. She was using her kid as, and then her kid dies and she realizes that she can use the witch's road to keep killing people. And she just goes on doing that. I thought it was really satisfying. I mean, it wasn't satisfying because you're secretly hoping, she's going to turn out to be the good guy. But yeah, she's a villain. What else did he think it was going to be? And that's what she does to Billy. That's what she does to the audience by doing that to him. It's like, yeah, what else did you think this was about? She was a villain in WandaVision. You think he forgot about that? No. So I really enjoyed how they used the relationship between Agatha and Billy to sort of subvert your expectations about what was going to happen.
I totally agree. I think everything about Agatha trying to be a good guy, and we get hints of like, I didn't want to be this person, and then you get flashbacks where it's like, no, she's just
manipulating them. You didn't want to be this person. She's lying. She's using I
thought it was great, but there's also parts of it that kind of don't follow that rule. Like, she does help. Billy's whole purpose of being on the witch's road is he is like, during the WandaVision finale where she like makes everything disappear and these kids had been made up, he jumps into a boy's body who had like just died. And that's how he's alive, and he's able to hear these thoughts, and he's still able to hear his brother Tommy. And so all he wants is to get his brother back, and she helps him do that. So I'm curious.
Yeah, at the end of the day, she does help him out. She does turn around and she's walking away. Like, it does happen.
Yeah,
but not in the way you're thinking. They still subvert your expectations right up to the very end moment.
And it's interesting. I just thought really, really well done. We get Tommy, but we only get like his feet and like this boy dying that he's about to put Tommy's soul into. To me, that says they have not cast this kid yet.
Yes, yeah.
Like, they just were like, do we want to reveal him? No, we have 500 more kids to audition. I don't know, just put some guy's feet on screen.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was really good. The big thing in this, I think, is that Agatha dies at the end.
Yes.
I will say
that. We'll talk about, I'm sure, like, they didn't do everything perfectly. There are some things I disagree with. We can talk about that. But you're right. Agatha dying at the end, I thought, literally, like, how much more symbolic can you get? Kiss of death.
Yeah.
I thought that was well done as well. And if that was the end of her story, I would have been like, that was good.
Except whatever. It isn't.
She finally did something good at the end, and then she died. There you go.
Yes, but it isn't the end of her story because for some reason she's a ghost now.
Yeah, it kind of cheapened it for me.
It did. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I really don't understand how
the big reveal. I loved him realizing that he created all that. But that was he's looking around like, he created all that. I didn't need Agatha to show up in ghost form and explain it to us.
Yeah.
Like, if that ended there, we'd be like, oh my god. Credits and then like the final episode flashback, I would have been happy.
Yeah.
Ghosts team up, like, that sounds like some sort of contract thing to me.
Kind of. Honestly, I feel like they could have chopped this whole last episode out. Like, he goes home at the end of episode 7, he's like, I might have made all this. And
then if that was it.
Yeah.
Yes, I think if they cut there, and then I still do think they should have had the final episode, because if they cut there, Agatha's dead, final episode, yes, it's about Agatha all along, let's do a flashback, just so you understand what was going on, because we were teasing that the whole time and we didn't explain it.
Yeah.
Then I would have been happy with that. I wasn't too sure on the ghost thing. The other thing I wasn't too sure on was Jennifer Kale, the potions witch. I wasn't too sure about her character arc. I was sort of confused by it. Like,
a bit. They don't spend a lot of time on the others.
No, my favorite character arc was Lily Calder, the whatever, seeing in the future, seeing different places in time.
No. Yeah, you're right.
That was a fantastic episode. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then it felt like they got to the end and they're like, oh, this whole thing is about Agatha and Billy. I totally forgot that there's a potion switch in here too. Let's just say Agatha had something to do with it and she can forgive her. And that's how we get out. And she doesn't have to have anything meaningful character thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Because all the other witches die.
Yes.
Like,
and they're like,
on the road.
Yes. And they have whole meaningful, I don't know if I would have, maybe I wouldn't have minded maybe another episode just to, explain what was going on with her, but who knows? Anyway, besides those two things, no complaints. Fantastic show.
Yeah, I really liked Aubrey Plaza in this. She turns out to be Death. She's the reason all these people are dying. Is like Agatha. They have a deal because I guess they used to date or something, but.
Yes, so then you're like, really is she? What's going on? He's looking at the Green Witch. It's like sort of that era of mystery and what he did and didn't do that I really liked. I do think it was sort of ruined by, nope, she's here in a ghost form to explain it all to you. I would have liked if the whole point is them leaving it up in the air and you don't know what's going on, what's going to happen next. Anyway, I just want to say that I would rewatch a show. I mean, a lot of shows you watch them and you're like, okay, I've seen it. Yeah. I would maybe rewatch it again, just because I really enjoyed it. It doesn't really happen very often. But in this, I was like, okay. I mean, sometimes they do it. They literally replay scenes from earlier in the show so you understand. But I feel like if I rewatch this, knowing what's coming and knowing all the plot reveals starting episode 6, I would be, I just value it more because I'd be like, oh, I see what's coming here. Yeah. And then the actors, of course, know that. So you really get to appreciate what they're doing more when you get to see what's coming, like little turns of expression or twists in their face. Now you know why they did that. Before you're like,
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I would also rewatch this. I kind of want to talk about where this is going because we are getting that like Vision Quest project.
Oh, no, I didn't know about this.
They announced that like 5 years ago and then haven't done anything. Since, but now people are saying like, this is like, is this going to be the next big Marvel trilogy? WandaVision, Agatha All Along, and Vision Quest. Which Vision Quest in the comics is based on the Visions comic, I think. And that is going to be all about like the Vision lost and kind of trying to figure things out. Creates this AI, like him, family. Like Vivian Vision is his daughter, and so we get all of these like Vision robot family people, and I think this is where we're going to get the introduction of Tommy. Okay, like he's probably going to be out looking for his dad. I assume this is where we're finally going to get White Vision back, because he just like pissed off at the end of WandaVision. He was like, "I have all my memories. I'll see y'all later," I think, and he left.
Dr. Manhattan's it out of there.
Yeah. So I think hopefully we get some updates on that soon, because this is the only thing I could really see this spinning off into is like Billy finds Tommy and they both look for their dad, because Wanda is dead at this point from Multiverse of Madness. Yeah. But I'm curious to see where all that goes.
Yes. I just really hope that they take notes from how well Agatha All Along did, because it wasn't very hyped up. Like you said, you just saw the trailers, you're like not sure what it's going to be like, and it was a really good show. I hope they take note from this, and then moving forward with their other projects and incorporate a little bit of what Agatha All Along did right. I agree. Hopefully make some fantastic upcoming sort of side TV show, whatever, about side character projects.
Yeah. Frankly, with the MCU, they've been kind of hitting this like, this was a good project, this was all right, this was good, this was fine. Yeah. But I think with the release of Deadpool, Wolverine, and this is the first time in a while we've gotten 2 back-to-back solid projects.
Yeah. So absolutely.
Is this the big return of the MCU? I think the next thing we're getting is Captain America, then Thunderbolts, then Fantastic Four. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's promising. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of Marvel. We're so back.
All right, Alex, I think we're going to wrap it up and call it here. Thank you so much for coming on to this episode.
Thanks for having me on.
You will definitely return.
All right, I look forward to it.
Just like an MCU tease, Alex Cantor will return.
I'll wait till Venom 4 comes out. about the cockroach in the end credit scene, and then I'll make my grand return.
You think they're going to do the whole movie based on the cockroach?
Absolutely. I think, hey, look, not much farther down to go, right?
You know,
from Venom 3.
it'll probably be better because you won't have to do anything. It'll just be the one Venom voice because the cockroach can't talk.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you get Tom Hardy return to voice the cockroach?
As the cockroach?
Yes.
It's just like horribly CGI. It's like him on the plane. It's horrible CGI of him on the face of the cockroach.
Yes. All right. This has been the Last Movie Room podcast. I've been your host, Josh Gilliam. You can find us on every single podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, and of course the Fourth Dimension Broadcasting channel on YouTube will have everything on there as well, from this to our upcoming show, Trading Paperbacks with Gary Torres and I. All right, Alex, thank you for being here. Everyone have a good day.